I never loved fasting purposely, setting a time limit and making myself fast for the sake of fasting. That's just not how I do it. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I have had some nasal sinus stuff going on, so my voice is like 4 octaves lower than it normally is. We may have picked up a little bug. We're gonna do a super casual, informal video filmed in my kids' room because this is the only room that is quiet right now. Today I'm gonna be talking about something that I've mentioned several times in what I eat in a day vlogs and some of my live Q&As, and I get a lot of questions about what I'm talking about when I say this term. Now, full disclosure, this is not a real thing. It's just the name that I put to my way of fasting. So you're not going to find this in like Dr. Fung's book, and you're not going to find this on any like medical person. This is just a lay term that I give my fasting schedule, and that is intuitive fasting. When people ask if I fast, it's not a yes or no type answer. The best way I could think of giving my fasting schedule a name was intuitive fasting. So let's break that down. What do I mean when I say intuitive fasting? Basically, I mean I fast if my body feels like fasting, and if my body doesn't feel like fasting, then I don't. And depending on the time of the month, if I'm breastfeeding, if I'm pregnant, if I'm exercising, like a whole lot of factors play into how my body tells me, hey, we're not hungry, or hey, we need to eat. That's what I mean when I mean intuitive fasting. I intuitively go 18 to 20 hours without eating every now and then. Most days are 16 to 18, and some days are just 10-hour fasting windows. So I'm going to go in depth a little bit more about this because I feel like this is something that a lot of you potentially could see yourself doing. So how do I do this? Are there rules? Not really. That's the whole point. It's intuitive. There are no rules. I listen to my body. Now, I think fasting is powerful. I think there are people who love fasting and they feel amazing. And there are some people who are like, it's not, I don't love it. And I kind of fall into that box. So here's how my fasting window goes. I wake up in the morning and I have some electrolytes. And if I am being a little bit more conscious about sweeteners and things like that, then I will use some unflavored electrolytes. Now, this is the Element sample pack that you can get for free with any purchase if you go to the link on the screen. And it comes with the unflavored. So if you're like, I'm not sure, that sounds really weird, I like the ones with flavor. You can try the unflavored and see how you like it. Now, here's how I have been using the unflavored. I make Ketorade. And when I say Ketorade, that's also something me and Ken Berry made up 6 years ago. So basically it's just a drink with electrolytes in it, and you can put sweetener in it if you want to. So I start out with a pack of Element Raw unflavored, like I said, and these have 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 of potassium, and 60 of magnesium. No sweetener, no sugar. It's just electrolytes. And I put this in a glass of ice, and then I pour a little bit of apple cider vinegar in there, as much or as little as you like. You don't even have to use apple cider vinegar if you don't like the taste. I actually enjoy the taste of apple cider vinegar, so it's not a huge inconvenience for me to use that. I put probably about a tablespoon of ACV in there with the electrolytes, and then I pour sparkling water over it, and it gives it a little like a kombucha type flavor. So if you're someone who is a fan of kombucha and you miss that, because a lot of kombucha has a ton of sugar, so like I don't drink kombucha anymore, but I used to. You can also add a few drops of stevia or whatever sweetener that you like, and that gives it even more of a kombucha type feel. You can put a slice of lemon in there. There's all kinds of ways to do that. So lately, during my fasting window, I have Ketorade, and I'm using the raw unflavored electrolytes. And I don't even put sweetener in it most days. Every now and then I'll put a few drops, but lately, like the last 3 days, I haven't used any stevia in my Ketorade. So highly recommend if you have not tried Element electrolytes. They're my go-to. They're my favorite. And the raw unflavored are the unsung hero. I feel like It doesn't get enough glory. It doesn't get enough spotlight. So here I am giving the unflavored element the spotlight. If you're interested in trying out the Element electrolytes, go to the link on the screen or in the description. It's drinkelement.com/Neisha. I don't know why I find that so hard to say. And they will send you a free sample pack that comes with 8 different flavors with any purchase. And like I said, the unflavored comes in there. As always, thank you so much to Element for sponsoring today's video. Alright, so I have electrolytes in my water. Always. If I'm drinking water, there are electrolytes in it. There needs to be electrolytes in your water for you to use water properly. Now, I'm not going to get into the science of this. My kids are going insane in the other room. My mom is watching. I'm just here to show you what I do. I'm going to stay in my lane. But if you want to do more research, you can on why electrolytes in your water are important for you to be able to use that water appropriately. So that's what I have. And then I also have an iced coffee. So how I make my iced coffee is I do a Nespresso double shot over ice, which kind of makes it like an iced Americano. And then I put lactose-free milk in there too. My dog needs in. Oy, oy, oy. I also have a hot coffee in the morning too. So I usually do my electrolyte water, hot coffee, while I'm checking emails and just trying to wake up. And then I take a shower, I get out, and I have an iced coffee. Now, that may be too much coffee for you, but it's the exact right amount of coffee for me. So sometimes I do allow some sweet leaf sweetener in my iced coffee and my hot coffee, depending on the day and depending on my taste. So like I said, these past few weeks I haven't actually been using as much sweetener, and I don't use that much to begin with. Maybe 3 drops in my coffee of the stevia drops that I get off of Amazon. And that's what I have, period. Until my body tells me I'm hungry. These past few weeks, for whatever reason, I've been able to push past my normal fasting window. So on average when I'm breastfeeding, which I'm still breastfeeding, but Bonnie has cut back a lot. So I would say we're breastfeeding half as much as we were a few months ago. And I don't know what it is, but I am able to fast longer. I'm currently fasting right now. It's 2 o'clock. I have not eaten today. Normally, while I'm breastfeeding, I can't push past 9:30, 10. Now I can. So I think my last meal of the day yesterday was like 8 o'clock, maybe. So that's a good 18-hour fasting window that I have had today. A few days ago, I did till 4 o'clock. And so like that's really good for me because I don't enjoy fasting if my body isn't doing it on its own. I don't like saying I'm gonna fast today without my body also saying that, because it may be in my head, or maybe it's because I have Hashimoto's, maybe it's because I'm breastfeeding, but I've been trying fasting for a very long time before I was pregnant, before I was breastfeeding, before any of that stuff, and I never loved fasting purposely. Setting a time limit and making myself fast for the sake of fasting. That's just not how I do it. Like I said, some people love doing that, and I think that is great for those people. But if you're like me, and when you set a time limit for yourself, your brain is like, but now I'm hungry, and everything is triggering you to want to eat, and maybe even fasting causes you to fall off the wagon because you get to a point where you are hungry, that you're just going to reach for whatever you see instead of going and cooking a meal. Keep that in mind, no matter what kind of fast you're doing, that you may need to do it a different way than somebody else. A lot of people add fat to their fasting window. So they may have a bulletproof coffee with a lot of fat in it. I don't do that. I don't like bulletproof coffee. Some people may eat a fat bomb. Some people may eat a brown butter bite, which is just another type of fat bomb. I don't do any of those things, not for any other reason than I just don't enjoy eating fat without something attached to it that is a protein. I like my fat to be attached to meat. I like bacon. I like fatty ribeyes. I like chicken thighs. I like things that have fat, but also protein. Together, it's a marriage. It's a match made in heaven. That's the way I think God intended us to eat fat. That's how I consume my fat. So there's all types of fasts. There's even fasts that include food. That's not a real fast, if you ask me. That's just a super restrictive whatever way of eating, and it's usually not long term, and it's for like some weird whatever. I don't do those either. I simply eat when I'm hungry, eat till I'm full and listen to my body and my hunger cues. And I think because I never had a food addiction, I don't have a history of not being able to say no or to keep eating even after I'm full. So that probably helps me be in tune with my body because I don't have that history. For somebody who does have a history of that, maybe listening to your body, depending on at what point in the journey you're at, is not like an option for you. But maybe it will be down the road. And I hope so. I know a lot of people fast for autophagy, like loose skin, and autophagy isn't just for loose skin. Like it's for all things in the body, like the cells. I'm not going to get into that either. So I think fasting is powerful, and I think it's wonderful for those who thrive with that. It's just not something that I can't do a 24-hour fast right now, and I don't want to, and that's okay. And I don't think fasting is a requirement to have a proper human diet, but I do think at a certain point, once you have been eating this way for like at least over a year, maybe even shorter than that, that your body will start to intuitively be able to function at high capacity without you grazing in the refrigerator or going, I'm hungry, I need a snack, I just need something. Like those snacky feelings. And I think that you'll be able to go 16 hours, 18 hours, 20 hours without forcing yourself. I think your body, once you've done this a while and you're fat adapted and your body's used to using ketones and fat for energy, the intuitive fasting is just that. It's intuitive. Okay, I hope that you found this helpful. If you did, make sure to smash the thumb on your way out. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Love you, mean it. Bye.